Hi Pat again.
Hi Markus.
We were out yesterday evening having some beers and good food.
And good food, yes.
So we are able now to make an interview
Yes.
About Primrose. And when we are talking about food, you said Primrose, you can eat Primrose.
Yes, you can eat the flowers from the primrose. You can, back in over 100 years and more ago, people used to candy the primroses. So you use the white from the egg and you mix it with fine sugar, and you dip the primrose flower in this substance, and then you leave them to dry, and children like the taste, and also the primrose can be good for our health. So for centuries people have been eating the flowers of the primrose. You can also use them in salads, and they're very good for parts of your diet.
So first question, what is the difference of your primroses to the primroses I find in the garden center all over Europe in spring?
Well, firstly, these are Irish primroses, so you don't find those all over every spring. In the last few years, we've been introducing them now to the market, and the big difference in our primroses and the primroses that you see in the mass bedding planting and in the spring is that ours are very hardy. So you can be sure of at least minus 25 in Celsius. And in some parts of the world we're getting results back that they're even hardier than this once they're planted in the ground. The second unique trait with our Irish primroses is the foliage. This is the summertime now, so in summer it's not the normal time for the primrose, so these primroses don't look as dark as they will in the autumn or the winter, but you can see they still are quite dark. So we have a whole range of varieties, very hardy, very, very strong disease resistance, and very strong in growing, and they can be treated as perennials. So this is the big difference between the ones you see with the big flowers and softer characteristic in the spring. Ours are perennial, they're very hardy, and we have varieties which have chocolate coloured flowers with different chocolate coloured leaves with different coloured flowers coming on.
What colours of flowers do you have?
Oh, we have from peach coloured flowers, we have red flowers with yellow eyes, we have white, we have pink, and we have bright yellows, all on the dark foliage.
And how many years you can have a primrose, an Irish primrose in your garden?
If you're a good gardener, you can have them for your life and into the next generation, because every 3 years you can divide them and spread them around.
And if you're a lazy gardener?
If you're a lazy gardener, okay, in the one place if you leave the primrose. Sometimes all primroses can eventually grow tired in the same position and the soil can become exhausted.
3-4 years?
Maybe 5 years, 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
But if you divide that clump, you can spread or give as gifts to your friend gardeners.
And then it's always
growing again.
Yeah. You cannot murder these plants.
It's sometimes bulletproof.
And what is the Irish? So the name is Irish primroses. Genetics is Irish?
The genetics is Irish, coming back from the middle of the 1800s. So we had a tradition in Ireland back before Victorian times, and in the country there were some really good gardeners who lived sometimes in the big houses, sometimes in traditions where families passed down a tradition of breeding primroses. So it was a hobby. It was a 19th century hobby where the ladies would pass varieties between each other. When they go visit, they give a gift, and when they go to each other's house, they look at the different varieties that have come in seed and which they have cross-pollinated. So during the early 1900s, this tradition was very strong, but then sometime in the 1940s, 1950s, the tradition just stopped all of a sudden.
It was lost, yeah.
And then some of the varieties started dying out. But during the 1970s, a man called Joe Kennedy, who is a friend of mine.
It must be an Irish
yes,
with his name,
Irish,
like
yes,
Fitzgerald.
Like Fitzgerald. So Fitzgerald and Kennedy came together to see what we could do about making sure these genetics were kept forever. And now we have the result in Irish primrose. And we're exporting now these plants to gardeners in Japan, Australia, USA, and all countries in Europe.
And soon Switzerland, yeah?
And very soon Switzerland.
A last question, what is the link between Halloween and Irish primroses?
Okay, very good.
Yeah, it's behind you, I've
Yes,
seen, yeah.
yes, we made this poster. It's
Irish primrose, a gift of generations.
Yes,
yeah.
It's a little bit modern poster, but the tradition behind Primrose, I don't think many people, even professional horticulturalists, I've asked the question, how do you think the primrose became such a popular plant in the garden? And they say, because we always did it. So
Okay.
Actually, the real reason the primrose is so popular is because of tradition. Back even to Roman times, there's been a tradition of planting primroses. So the mythology around the primrose is very, very big. I don't think there is a plant that I know has so much mythology, especially Celtic mythology and Norse mythology. Even the goddess of fertility, Freya, her flower is the primrose. Yeah. So many hundreds and hundreds of years of tradition.
This subject we will discuss afterwards because I have apples and roses. So
okay.
We can no go on. Sorry, Pat.
So the mythology has come about because people in olden times believed that the primrose had special powers about keeping away evil spirits. So always outside the house and outside the doors, they kept a certain amount of primroses. And in Germany, even there are suspicions about the numbers of primroses that you use. If you bring a single primrose into the house, it's bad luck. But if you bring more than a single primrose into the house, you have good luck for the rest of the year. So this story about our ancestors believed that the primrose deterred evil fairies goes back over 1,000, maybe more years.
A good thing, you have 2 seasons to sell, spring and
autumn.
Yeah,
Yes.
and autumn.
And in our country and in shaded parts in gardens, you can plant, establish with your bulbs, and then in the spring your bulbs and your primroses are coming flowering in succession.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Markus.
And good luck with Irish primroses.
Thank you, Markus.